stay home. It's whiskey time! Cover your mouth! I don't care if you're my wife or not. That's disgusting. Friends, let's have a whiskey. I know these are hard times. So, today, we're going to have a little something different. We're going to have an opening. Fresh bottle of Wild Turkey 101. But you know what? The times we're living in are a little tough right now. So you know what I always say, when life gives you lemons, make a whiskey sour. So we've got our Wild Turkey 101. This is a bourbon whiskey out of the United States of America, the official spirit of the United States of America. America! Let's crack into our whiskey sour. This is a lovely drink. You're going to enjoy it. And like I said, we're in hard times. Things are under states of emergency. You know, the lemons are here. This is a very unconventional way to make a whiskey sour, by the way. So we're going to take a couple of lemons. May end up drinking some seeds, but that's okay. Whiskey sour is good for, you know, keeping off certain viruses. And the fresh fruit in it helps fend off the scurvy as well. Maybe a little bit more. So how y'all doing out there? Fun times we're in, isn't it? All right, another half lemon in here. Man, I am making one royal mess. Woo! Yes, sir! Ugh. So, lemon juice. There's a few seeds in there. Let's see if we can... Oh, and by the way, I washed my hands before I started this. Not that anybody else is going to be drinking this, but, you know, if you're mixing drinks for family while you're stuck at home, you want to make sure you wash your hands before you go digging around trying to get seeds out. Ah, to hell with it. All right, brand new bottle of Wild Turkey. This is a fairly inexpensive bottle of whiskey, but it's good for making whiskey sours. So whiskey sour is pretty straightforward. Ounce of lemon juice. I'm going to use my lovely bourbon maple syrup from the Tobic First Nations Reserve up here in New Brunswick. About that much of that. I don't have my fancy bar spoon here today, so I'll have to use the good old steak knife. I want to stir that up just to get the maple syrup mixed in with the lemon juice. Got our bourbon open. Like I said, this is fairly widely available at most liquor stores, but when you go into the liquor stores now, there's a young fella meet you right outside to make sure you haven't got a temperature. We're in those times. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Sure. We're gonna put this away. You all right over there? A couple of ice cubes. Give it a little stir. Like I said, great for fighting viruses. Really good for keeping off the scurvy. Stir it up. Not much of a nose on this one. I'm sure all of you, while you're at home right now, under isolation, have been using a lot of cleaning supplies. This, there's no nice way of saying this. This smells like Mr. Clean's balls after he's been on a bender all night. Cheers. We'll throw a couple of these down this episode and everything's going to be top shelf. Welcome, folks. Episode 7 of YATR. Markus Harvey here, 69 steps in front of the St. John River, staying inside like I'm supposed to be doing, and enjoying this whiskey sour. And this probably won't be the only thing I'm drinking here today. What a journey we've had. We are in the middle of the coronavirus, the Covid-19, the lockdown. And I wanted to take you on a little bit of a journey of how we get to the point where we're at right now. Now, at the beginning first off, let me once again iterate to you all, I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about, but here's my take on things. Now, when this all started 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was, like most people, chirping the government because they were closing schools, and I was one of those ones about, it's no worse than a common cold. And then all of a sudden, Italy kind of got to the point where it's at, and things got real. So, I'm not going to get into the details of how many people got it and what's going on in the world right now. All I know is that you need to stay home if you can stay home. Wash your hands as much as possible. Stay away from people at least 6 feet, even from your family, which is working great for me and the wife. But anyway, that's a whole other story. The washing your hands thing, like at the start of this, every old man that goes to the bathroom in Tim Hortons, I'm sure was perplexed because I don't think I've ever seen an old man in the bathroom in Tim Hortons wash their hands. So this thing got underway 2 or 3 weeks ago. Like I said, they decided to close the schools. I'm a big high five guy. I high five everyone. So it was a bit of an adjustment for me because we couldn't high five anymore. So I decided to go with the foot fives. But then when I was foot fiving somebody one day, I realized, you're supposed to keep 6 feet in between you. But when I was foot fiving someone, there was only 4 feet between us. So I had to cut that out as well, which was kind of a hard day for me, and a realization that things were getting as bad as they were. So around this time is when the toilet paper thing started, and to this day, I still can't understand what the deal is with the toilet paper thing. People were just buying toilet paper like crazy, and to me, my understanding is that it was the coronavirus. Lung problems, coughing, sore throat. It wasn't the schooner virus. If it was the schooner virus, then you'd need the toilet paper for the shit you got from that. But that was that. Toilet paper. Everybody hoarding toilet paper. Still doing it to this day. You still can't find any on the shelves. So, use what you got to use, I guess. Then, that kind of progressed. And then the next week, we got into the state of emergency here in New Brunswick. The state of emergency was declared, and I'm telling you, the world pandemic was declared, and in New Brunswick it became a pandalarium. People went to the grocery stores and they bought more food than humans need, for months. And I understand a lot of people, like you're being told, make sure you've got enough stuff to do for 72 hours or whatever, but this whole crackdown, everybody stay home for 14 days, schools being closed for 14 days, got into everybody's mindset, and they started hoarding food. I mean, I work in essential industry, so I'm in the grocery stores, and the stuff that people were buying, it was clear nuts. I mean, I was out in the parking lot doing a black market egg deal with my buddy Didi up the road, who's the godfather of the black market in fresh eggs in the Majorville area. But thanks to him, I was able to eat breakfast today. And in Canada in general, folks, this is something that y'all have to understand is we've got a good food supply here. We're not going to run out of food. We've got enough, stuff still coming across the border from the States. We've still got, plenty of barns full of potatoes, lots of meat. It's to a point where people need to calm down and realize there's going to be food. Just be careful out there in the grocery stores. So now we're at the point where we're at now. The news is coming in from all over the world about how bad it's getting. I think today we're almost at 500,000 people on the planet that have it. But people are kind of understanding now, getting a grasp on what you need to do, and that is stay home. If you can stay home, stay home. Don't go to the grocery store with your wife, husband, and 3 kids. If you've got somebody that can stay home with the kids, leave them home. Send one person out. I went grocery shopping the other day for my mother, who's next door. She's 84 years old, to save her from going to the grocery store. Common sense stuff. And like I said, they've been saying, wash your hands. You should have been washing your hands anyway, you filthy animals. Drink your whiskey sours with lemon juice to keep away the scurvy, because if you get the scurvy along with the coronavirus, you're really done for. Practice the social distancing. And in general, people are getting a grasp of this. So while you're home, I'm seeing a lot of fun things that people are doing to kind of kill the time, because you can get pretty shack wacky. There's people posting videos of doing music and things like that. There's people singing on balconies. A lot of talk shows, all the talk shows I think actually are filming from home now and doing little bits, which is great and fine. Here in our house, last week we went for a nice walk out into the woods. I'll throw a picture up there. There you go. We weren't practicing social distancing at that time, but we got out for a walk in the woods on our land in behind here in Majorville. I've spent some time today already on the white sandy beaches of the St. John River working on my tan. It's a nice day outside. What else have we done here? There's board games. We've pulled board games that we haven't seen for years. And another thing I've been doing is I'm seeing how we're coping here in Canada and kind of in America. But what I did was I decided to call my friends around the world and see what's happening there too. So the other day I called my friend Ola. He's originally in Spain, but he's luckily back home in Norway, living at his girlfriend's place. And in Norway, very much the same as here, lots of stuff under lockdown. He's got a son who's a very good tennis player that's actually back down in Spain with his mother right now. They're stuck there, but everybody's, safe, good to go. After that, I saw, just this morning actually, I was watching the British Prime Minister Gary Busey doing a whole news conference on this COVID-19. They've got London pretty much locked down. So I gave a call through to my friends Amanda and Mark right in London, England. They had one of their sons that just got back from a skiing trip in Italy. So he was kind of coughing on the couch. They're all isolated. Same thing in London. Everything's locked down. Everybody's doing what they should do to flatten the curve. And I won't get into the explanation of that. You've all heard enough of that by now. They're doing well. That video call kind of took a turn for the worse when my friend Amanda's husband, Mark, decided to show me his in-house sauna that he has. And I was kind of keen to see what it looked like. But then when he stripped down naked to get into it, yeah, that was a little hard to watch. Although he's, actually quite spot sexy. Who else did I call? I called my friend Desmond. My son Jai's godfather and godmother live in Singapore. Last night, having 3 boys at home here, they tend to be up gaming at 2, 3, and 4 in the morning. So they woke me up. I took the advantage to call up my friend Desmond in Singapore. Interesting speaking to him. Over there, they're still in school 2 or 3 days a week, and the restaurants are still open there. They've got, I think as of today, about 70 cases in Singapore. And Singapore is only like 720 square kilometers, very small island country. And, in New Brunswick, we've got about 3 people per square kilometer. In Singapore, they've got close to 8,000. So I was quite amazed that the numbers are so low, but they did some crazy stuff over there in Singapore where they tracked people's cell phones to see where they were and to kind of curb the spread of this virus. So it was kind of interesting as well. Who else did I speak to? Camo, my best mate in Australia. He's in Byron Bay, lives right down the street from Thor. I'm sure they're doing all right over at Thor's house. He was on his way. I spoke to him last week, actually, but same thing in Australia. People are trying to get a grasp on the social distancing. Washing your hands, don't shake hands, don't hang out in big groups of people. But it was interesting at Camo's place, you may have remembered there was a lot of brush fires down there and wildfires in Australia. They got those under control, but during that time when there was the wildfires, a koala moved into a gum tree in my friend Camo's backyard. So he had sent a picture through of it, and then last week I got a message from him going, yeah, the koala hasn't quite gotten a grasp of the social distancing or the self-isolation thing, and he sent through a video from his neighbor's house where the koala had decided to go in the house and I guess self-isolate in there. I'll put the video up for you there to take a look. Isn't that cute, huh? Come on. Here, let's it's going from a whiskey sour just to whiskey here fairly quickly. So that's what's going on. Here in New Brunswick and area, people are starting to get it, I think, to stay home if you can stay home. Schools were supposed to be closed for 2 weeks. I think that's probably going to go through. The numbers I'm hearing from my friends that I'm talking to around the world, most governments are saying now, at least till Easter, everything's going to be, quarantined, everybody stay at home. So that'll take us for another 2 or 3 weeks, but everybody seems to be handling it okay. And we're all in this together. This is kind of a whole new world for all of us having to deal with this, and I think moving forward, you're going to see some kind of interesting changes. I don't know if it's going to be for the better or for the worse, but right now we just got to do what we can do. I did want to talk about one thing today, though, before I let you go. Ice and whiskey. Got an email from my bank the other day, and I won't mention what bank I deal with because I've dealt with all of them over the years. But it was an interesting email about COVID-19 and how they're here for you and they're going to help you in extended call center hours and helping you to do internet banking and whatnot. But around the same time that I got that email, I got a bank statement, and I noticed that there was 6 tapping fees on my bill. So for me, the tapping fees, or in general, tapping fees are when you use your bank debit card and you go to the store and you pay for it that way. Tap your chip. I don't know if you have that all around the world, but that's how we've got it here. Anyway, the banks will charge you $1.25 to $2 to $3 every time you do that, depending on the bank package that you have. So the bank package I have, I think I'm paying $15 a month. I don't know why, because when I was a kid, you gave your money to the bank, they made money on your money, but now, yeah, you got to pay I just, not a fan of banks. But anyway, tapping fees. Now here in my part of the world, and in Canada, a lot of businesses with the COVID-19 and the coronavirus and the pandalarium that's going on aren't accepting cash. So for somebody like myself, middle class and up, I've got a credit card that I can use to tap. There's no fees on it. But for the lower income folks and people that are just not aware of what's going on, you can't use cash now because a lot of businesses aren't accepting cash. So you have to use your bank card. And if you're paying $1.25, $2, $3 every time you have to tap, that's going to add up. And a lot of people are on unemployment right now, obviously because a lot of businesses are shut down. And a lot of restaurants and everything. So what I was thinking and what was making me ugly was the fact that the banks haven't said anything and politicians haven't said anything about maybe getting the banks to waive the tapping fees while we're in this coronavirus, just for the next couple of months. Because I'll tell you right now, once the big banks heard that businesses weren't accepting cash anymore, they were sitting in their little corporate offices using the hand sanitizer that was brought to them specially, rubbing their hands together and licking their lips, because there's a whole lot of people that can't afford banking fees and can't afford and don't have the credit to get a credit card that are going to be tapping, and these banks are going to be making millions. So to end this off, I'd just like to put a shout out to all the major banks, and in general, who's going to be the first major bank to step up and help the lower income folks and the marginalized people of this country and the countries of the world while we're dealing with this, and get rid of the tapping fees for folks so that, you know, you don't need to make any more money. The banks are doing fine. In 2008, you got bailed out. Your foundation is solid. You're not going anywhere. You don't need to fleece a bunch of sick people in the middle of a pandalarium with tapping fees. Somebody step it up. A bank step. I already spoken to my MP about it, and a friend of mine that's a news reporter, they're kind of going on that angle as well. We'll see where it goes, but you know, be better, banks. Be better and stop, you know, pretending that you're doing everybody a favor and actually get to the bottom of it and help people out. Get rid of the tapping fees and get rid of the package fees for a couple of months too. Like, just help some people out. We're in a tough time. We're all in this together, and we got to get through it. So, in closing, continue to enjoy your whiskey. Stay home. Wash your hands. Stay away from your family. Stay away from the neighbors. Don't go to public spaces. In my area, you don't have to worry about going to restaurants because they won't let you go in them. There's just takeout and whatnot. But even that, just it's going to make everybody shack wacky. It's going to be crazy for a while. But we're going to get through it. I think, and I truly believe we're going to be better at the end of it as a planet. And it seems, you know, it's funny how we're all working together now, and the bipartisan effort at government level and all around at every level, municipal level, provincial level, country level, seems to be, you know, seems to be working. We're all in this together, like I said. So continue to drink your whiskey. Don't hug anybody. Wave at them from across the room. Love them as much as you always have. We're going to get through this. Step back. Deep breaths together. We're going to get through it all. Thanks for stopping by. Listen, enjoy your day. Get outside if you're in an area like I am, where you can go outside, not be around people. It's a lovely sunny day out there. And it's going to get better. We're going to get through it. Cheers. I heard a funny thing. Oh, and I forgot to say, please click like, subscribe, leave a comment below if you have anything that you've been doing to get through this, or any other comments, suggestions, thoughts, ponderings, musings, or otherwise. I'd love to hear it. And I will be all alone again tonight, but